The story begins in a way that feels almost like a fever dream. We start in a dark, suffocating opium den in a London slum, a place of shadows and hallucinations, and then, with a jarring suddenness, we are pulled into the bright, structured, and solemn atmosphere of an English cathedral. This shift is more than just a change in setting, it sets the tone for the entire book. It tells us right away that the world we are entering is one where the surface of things is often a mask for something much darker and more chaotic underneath. We find ourselves in the cathedral town of Cloisterham, a place that feels heavy with history and tradition, almost stagnant in its stillness. It is here that we meet John Jasper. To the townspeople, Jasper is a respected cathedral official, a man of dignity and order. But Jasper carries a secret. He suffers from sudden, terrifying physical fits, which he attributes to his use of opium. This is the first major instance of duality in the novel. The idea of a man living two lives, one respectable and one predatory. Jasper is the uncle of Edwin Drood, a young, ambitious man with his eyes set on the future. Edwin is an engineer, and he is planning a journey to Egypt for a major project. He is also engaged to Rosa Bud, a sensitive and somewhat whimsical orphan. Rosa is raised at the nun's house by Miss Twinkleton, a woman who is herself a study in duality, maintaining a strict, professional exterior while managing the complex personalities of the young women in her care. The relationship between Edwin and Rosa is not a simple romance, it is strained by beacons and the looming shadow of Edwin's departure for Egypt. As the tension between them grows, we are introduced to more characters who populate this strange town. There is Mr. Sapsea, a vain auctioneer, and the stonemason Durdles, who seems to know more about the town's secrets than he lets on. Then there are the landless siblings, Neville and Helena, who have arrived from Ceylon. They are outsiders, and Neville in particular carries a certain volatility. He has a traumatic past and a temper that some describe as tigerish, making him an easy target for suspicion in a town that is quick to judge anyone who doesn't quite fit in. As Christmas approaches, the atmosphere in Cloisterham becomes increasingly claustrophobic. Edwin and Rosa decide to end their engagement, choosing instead to pursue what they call more truthful paths. This decision is witnessed by Jack Melton, an intense companion of Edwin's, and it marks a turning point in the social fabric of the town. On Christmas Eve, a violent storm lashes the town, the wind howling through the ancient streets. The next morning, the world of Cloisterham is shattered. Edwin Drood has vanished. The search for Edwin begins immediately, but it quickly turns into something much more sinister. Neville, landless, is found returning from a solo excursion with blood on his clothes and a heavy walking stick in his hand. He becomes the immediate and overwhelming suspect. The townspeople, already wary of the outsider, look at him through a lens of prejudice. A search of the river yields no body, but the discovery of Edwin's watch and a shirt-pin suggests that this wasn't just a disappearance, but a murder. Neville is socially ostracized, his reputation destroyed, and he is eventually forced to leave the town, though the shadow of suspicion follows him everywhere. 6 months pass, and the mystery refuses to die. The investigation shifts toward a more methodical approach through the character of Dick Datchery. Datchery is a mysterious, quiet man with a military air who begins to pull on the threads connecting the local community to the criminal underworld of London. He follows a trail that leads to a woman named Princess Puffer, a connection that suggests the crime might involve more than just local grievances. The tension reaches a breaking point when Jasper, appearing to have finally mastered his black humours, corners Rosa Bud in a garden. This is the psychological heart of the book. Jasper confesses to a lifelong, predatory obsession with Rosa. He reveals that he has been watching her, waiting for his moment. He admits his plan to frame Neville landless for Edwin's murder, using the young man's outsider status and his volatile temper to satisfy a deep, dark vendetta. As the truth begins to leak out, Rosa flees to London to seek protection from her guardian, Mr. Grewgious. The connections between the prison system, the criminal elements of London, and the quiet streets of Cloisterham begin to tighten like a noose. The town remains deeply divided, caught between the belief that Edwin simply fled to start a new life, and the terrifying possibility that he was murdered by someone they thought they knew. And then, the story simply stops. Charles Dickens died before he could write the final chapters of The Mystery of Edwin Drood. He left the novel unfinished, and because he didn't leave a detailed plan for the ending, The Mystery of Edwin Drood has become a permanent part of literary history. We never get to see the body, we never see the trial, and we never get a definitive answer as to whether Neville was innocent or if Jasper was indeed the killer. This lack of resolution is exactly what makes the book so enduring. It has transformed from a standard Victorian mystery into a profound exploration of the unknown. When we look at the book as a whole, we see that the mystery is not just about a missing man, but about the nature of identity itself. The theme of duality is the engine that drives the narrative. We see it most clearly in John Jasper, whose split persona, the composed cathedral official versus the opium-addicted predator, serves as a dark mirror for the entire society of Cloisterham. Even the minor characters wear masks. Miss Twinkleton's professional rigidity hides her true feelings. Neville's tigerish temper might be a defense mechanism against a lifetime of trauma, and Edwin's ambitious, modern engineering mind stands in stark contrast to the stagnant, ancient traditions of the town. There is a constant tension between appearance and reality. The town of Cloisterham presents a facade of respectability and religious order, but beneath that surface lies a web of secrets, obsessions, and old grudges. The characters are often defined by what they hide. Neville, landless, is the perfect scapegoat, precisely because he doesn't fit the social mold. His outsider status makes it easy for the town to project their fears onto him. The mystery isn't just about finding Edwin, it's about the realization that the people living alongside us might be entirely different from the people we think we know. We also see a clash between the old world and the new. Edwin Drood represents the coming age, the age of engineering, movement, and ambition. He is a man looking toward Egypt, toward the future, toward progress. Cloisterham, with its cathedral and its long-held traditions, represents a world that is stuck, a world that is resistant to the changes the modern era is bringing. This friction adds to the sense of unease that permeates the story. It's as if the very environment is at odds with the people living within it. Because the book is unfinished, we are forced to become investigators ourselves. We find ourselves weighing the evidence, the blood on Neville's clothes, the missing watch, the suspicious behaviour of Jasper, the connections to the London underworld. We are left to wonder if Dickens intended to reveal a shocking truth, or if he wanted the mystery to remain forever unsolved, a metaphor for the inherent unpredictability of human nature. Some scholars argue that Dickens had a specific ending in mind, involving a gold ring that would have served as the key piece of evidence to link the crime to a specific location. Others believe the ambiguity was intentional, a way to emphasize that some truths are never fully brought to light. Ultimately, The Mystery of Edwin Drood is a book about the weight of the past. Characters like Rosa and Neville are shaped by traumas they cannot escape: orphanhood, abuse, and social isolation. These past experiences dictate their present fears and drive their actions, creating a ripple effect that leads to the central catastrophe. It is a strange, unsettling, and deeply human work. It doesn't offer the comfort of a neat resolution or a clear moral lesson. Instead, it leaves us in that uncomfortable space between the known and the unknown, much like the transition from the opium den to the cathedral at the very beginning. It reminds us that beneath the surface of our orderly lives there is always a shadow, and that sometimes the most important stories are the ones that refuse to give us an answer.